Hello friends, it's Kathy Clement with Kathy by Design. Welcome to Throwback Thursday. This is a weekly series that I do on my YouTube channel where we dig into our stash of beautiful papers, dyes, tools, designs, and we make something fresh and beautiful with it. Today, I'm still working on getting Christmas gifts made for my family, and I decided I wanted to work with this Graphic 45 Let It Snow. This came out a couple of years ago, I think, and I love it because of all the blues and the little woodland creatures. We'll just flip through the 8x8 very quickly. Beautiful snowy poinsettias, this great dot pattern on here, lots of wonderful little cut-aparts. I love the birds. I think that's what sold me, was these beautiful robins. Of course, I love the holly leaves. Lots of great Santas there, borders, polar bears, super fun. Great snowflake print on the back, which comes in handy for Christmas and for winter. Then our cut-aparts with a great green, this kind of a tealy green on the back. And that is the paper collection. So I got the 8x8. I grabbed the journal cards because, I mean, the artwork on the back is as beautiful as the artwork on the front. I picked up a few sheets of 12x12 so I can use the large border pieces, the larger cut-aparts, and then I got patterns and solids because these are just great liner sheets, and the colors in this are very good for winter and for Christmas. And then the chipboard. I got this all on super duper clearance, so I grabbed a lot of it. So that is the paper collection we're going to be working with, and I think I figured out what gift I'm going to make. So let me get things set up and I'll be right back.
All the fields we go, laughing all the way. That's all Bob to tell me.
So what are we going to make? Well, how about this Deluxe Tea Party in a Box Folio? I just love the way this turned out. I've added Reneabouquets' beautiful board that I've embossed and treated with some mixed media stuff. Some of her mulberry flowers, really reasonable ribbon and twine, and then just some little jingle bells I had in my stash. This is so sweet. Here's the spine, here's the back cover, and it has a ribbon closure. And it opens up on the inside, and I have this little flip page, pull-out page element. This is actually a big, there's nothing little about this pull-out page. It's huge. So you can see 5 photos here and 4 photos here and a little magnetic closure. Here's a cute little flap element. So you could put a little photo or some journaling in here. This flips out. We've got a little pocket with a tiny little greeting in here. You could journal in there with a gel pen, and that would be super sweet. I've arranged some cute little images from the paper collection on this flap, and then here's the tea party in a box. I've got cocoa, peppermint sticks, chocolates, teas, cookies, a little spoon, honey sticks, all kinds of treats in here. It's going to make a very, very nice Christmas gift. And this just folds up like this, and there you go. The nice thing about this, a couple of things I love, is it's great for home decor. And then the second thing is, when you've used all the treats, you can use that inner pocket for photos, memorabilia, other small bits and bobs. It's a really, really fun project. It is not hard to make. So if you'd like to learn how, stick around. The video tutorial is coming up next.
Is to ride and sing a sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way.
All right, friends, I think we're going to make in a box. So I've started out. I only have a couple more sheets of this left. I'm going to miss it when it's gone. This 18 by 12 inch natural cardstock that I get from envelopes.com. And I've cut it to a height of 6, scored it at 6, scored it at 7 3/4. Then I folded scored at 6, 7 3/4, and then I have this little 2.5-inch flap on the end. I've gone ahead, and you'll see, I've painted all my edges with tarnished brass distress stain just to cover up the white. I kind of wanted a gold backdrop, and you can see it's not perfectly done. I'm going for kind of distressed, old, vintage looking. Then I've lined my spines with, I think these are 1 5/8 by 5 7/8 of the back side of the red snowflake print. You can see I patched in some pieces here. These are 2 1/4 inches wide, top and bottom, and we're going to do something that will cover that up. Then this is 2 1/4 by 5 7/8, 1 5/8 by 5 7/8, 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. And this is going to be a little pull-out element here. I want to show you, I want to make wrapped covers for this because I want it to be good and sturdy. I want it to be more than just a tea party in a box. I want this to be something that can be pulled out from year to year for home decor. So I pulled out this beautiful dark tealy blue, and these are going to be our covers, front and back. I cut 2 pieces of chipboard this is very lightweight. This is like what you would find on the back of a paper pad. So very lightweight. I don't want it thick. I just want to add a little strength to our cover design. So I'm going to glue this down, and I cut this to 7 by 7. And I want to put this as close to the center as I can. I'm going to bring in my little We Are memory tool to make sure my corners are nice and straight. And that looks good to me. Let's check all 4 sides. Okay, I love this little guy. I've made albums from scratch for years and years, but I just love how this makes it easy. So like this is a little off, so I can move this just a little bit, and it lets me know that my corners are nice and square, which is something I am fond of. All right, so you can bring in your bone folder, and you're just gonna go around the outside edge here. This is just going to start breaking those paper fibers down so that they won't break or crack when you're folding your album, when you're folding your paper. And then I'm just going to gently start folding this up. And if you've never done this before, you really owe it to yourself to learn how. This is a great skill to have. A lot of times a wrapped panel, it just gives things a professional, finished look. And you can see how the fact that I went around this a couple times with my bone folder really helped those papers to bend. Now I'm going to bring in my little tool, and this fits over the corner. I'm going to take my pencil, oops, struggle bussing here. Just going to mark where I'm going to cut my corners. And this ensures that I'll have a nice, neat corner. I'll show you what we're going to do next. Just hang with me. Okay. I'm going to come in with my scissors, and I'm going to cut right along that pencil line. All right, so see now when you fold, you're going to have these beautiful corners that meet the way they should. And sometimes you have to come in and trim just a teensy bit off, but mostly it's perfect. All right, so then put your adhesive down. And we're just going to bend this back and crease it into place. Put a little more glue in there. And there's our wrapped cover. And now you can come in, like you've got these little cracks. You can just hit that with some ink and they disappear, which is very cool. So this is going to be our front cover. I always like to decorate my cover off the cover of the book because it's just so much easier to work with. So for now, I'm just going to set this aside. This is going to be the front, and I'm going to use the snowflake pattern on the back. So you're going to do your back cover this way with the blue solid up. So go ahead, do your back cover, then we'll come back and do the next step. So here's our back cover all wrapped. And we're just going to put our adhesive on it and glue it down. Okay, and you can see that makes it nice and sturdy. It feels more like a box, which is what I was going for. And then of course, when we're ready, we'll glue this one on the front.
In a one-horse open sleigh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun.
Let's go to work on the inside. On this funny little flap, I've taken a piece, this is just a scrap that was left over, and it is almost 7 by 5, and I just folded it in half so that the snowflakes are on the front. Then I cut gussets to go along the bottom and this part of the sides. And what we're going to do is glue this down as a little gussets. Page. These are just 1 inch wide, and I made these 2 1/4 inches and folded them in half. The folded edge goes against the outside edge of your paper. And I'm going about halfway up, and then I'm going to center this and glue it down. So now this will flip open and we can do something fun in here. But what you have over here, and I can see I made my gussets too big, oh well, but what you have over here is a little pocky. So you can stick some cute tags and things in there. So when you do your gussets, instead of going 2 1/4, go 1 1/4, and I will operate on this and see if I can fix it for mine. But in fact, I'll show you what I'm going to do, because then you'll know. I'm just going to pull these off, and it will be all right. Because paper is easy to repair. It's a beautiful thing. And I'm going to cut these off, do both of them at the same time. It will make my life easier. It's good for you to see that mistakes happen, but that they can also be fixed. Oops, not quite far enough down. Okay. So what we'll do here is we'll just cut a piece of 1 inch by 5 inch paper and cover over this, maybe like a border piece or something, and no one will ever know that that mistake happened, and you still have a cute pocket here. Now I want to go to work on this pull-out page over here. So I took that 12-inch patterned paper and I cut it into two 12-inch by, I think this is 5.5. And then I scored 5.5 and 5.5 and 5.5 and 5.5. And then I joined, there's like a little 1-inch flap here. So I just joined this part over that 1-inch flap to make this nice long piece. And then I accordion folded it. All right, so this is gonna go right in the center. We're only gonna put our adhesive on this 1-inch flap. And this is gonna go centered up right here. Okay. So now this will open out like this, and it will open out like this. All right. Now we come to the box pocket in the center. And for the box pocket, I cut just under 9 inches. You can see it's just a tick under 9 by 5. I scored 3/4 of an inch and 1.5 inches here, and flipped it, did 3/4 of an inch and 1.5 inches here, and 3/4 of an inch and 1.5 inches here. So basically you have 2 3/4 inch score lines on the sides and the bottom. And then I painted it up with our distress paint. So now, and then, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself. I cut the outer rectangles out. I've done these so many times, I'm sure you already know. I cut the outer rectangles out, cut straight up to this horizontal line, and then cut out a little triangle on each side. And now we can go ahead and fold on these scored lines. It's just easier to do the cutting and the painting before you score. Your scissor will cut straighter. So that's just a handy little tip. And I'm not covering the sides and the bottom this time because I painted. So made it easier. All right, these little legs, this is face down on my table. These little legs fold up. I'm going to put adhesive on the legs. And then this just folds in like that. Do you see that? And this glues into the bottom pocket. Same thing over here. It just wants to roll in there. It's like it knows that's what it's supposed to do. So it's pretty cool. Then your bottom flap tucks up. Your side flaps tuck in. And pull the adhesive right here and secure these together. Like that. All right. Then I like to come in with my scissors, and I just like to trim a little triangle out of the top corner. It just makes it look a little more finished when you glue it into your folio. So now I'm just going to put my adhesive on these nice flaps. And you want to be pretty generous because you want this to stick. You want to glue it in place. You want to make sure that you're straight. Two things you're checking for. You're lined up with the bottom, nice and straight. You're not going over the fold, and your sides are straight. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to go in with my bone folder and just press this in place. All right. And to cover this, I cut a 5 3/4 by 3 3/8 inch piece of our little bird pattern. And if you want to do the holly, you can do the holly, but I like the little bird. I'll show you how I'm going to fix this. What did I say? 1 inch by 5 inches. How great that looks. No one knows. It's like Julia Child used to say, she's one of my heroes. I also love to cook. And she used to say, never apologize and never explain. Nobody knows once you put it on the table whether you had a disaster or a triumph. It's kind of the same with paper crafting. Look at that. No one knows except thee and me, and you'll never tell. So now we've got this great little pocket that we can put tags or tea bags or whatever in. And I'm just making sure everything is open. There we go. Sometimes I have to go in with a ruler and just make sure those little gussets are pressed into place, and these are, so we're good. All right, guys, that's the basics on this. So I'm gonna decorate mine up on the inside, and then I'll come back and show you what I've done, and we'll do the cover together, okay?
Soon Miss Fanny Bright was seated by my side. The horse was lean and lank.
All right, friends, let's take a look at the inside of this little box. Now that I've finished it, on our front flap, I took a piece of paper and just folded it in half. And inside, we've got this cute little ditty. You saw me do that. Now there it is all finished. All right. And then here's our little inside flap with the peace, love, joy birdies and a little Reneabouquets snowflake. Of course, the center is our pocket, and I've really filled it up. This is a special tea party in a box for a family member that I care about a lot. So I've got hot chocolate, I've got a couple of different Ghirardelli chocolates, I've got a couple of different Christmas teas, 2 packs of Biscoff cookies, a candy cane, a peppermint stick, and a little vintage spoon. So that's in there. And then over here is our pull-out page, and this turned out really, really good. So there's our magnetic flap. And to cover the magnet, I've just put down this 5x5 piece of patterned paper with 2 of the stamps. I've decorated our little mechanism here, and the way you do this is on this back panel, we've got that little flap, right? So to make this look more uniform, I cut this panel of cardstock, and this is 4 3/4 by 4 3/4. before I glued this down, I took this little flap, and this is just a piece of scrap paper that I had. The width was about 6 by about 3, and then I scored it at 3 1/4, and I double scored right there close together, and put my magnet here, then came over. You've seen me do that a million times. Put my magnet on the front so it would catch, and then glued it in, and then glued in this 4 3/4 inch panel to cover up the mechanism arm. So this is a nice big pull out. And I added magnets in between the pages so it doesn't flap around. To cover those magnets up, I put down patterned paper, and also to break up some of the pattern. That's a lot of pattern. And here we are on this side, same thing. So there's a magnet here, and there's a magnet here and here, and a magnet here and here. And it just holds everything nice and neat so that when you open this up, it doesn't flop around. So you can put a lot of holiday photos in there. This is going to just fold over, and now we're going to add our ribbon closure. And for that, I have this beautiful blue, gold, and ivory plaid from Really Reasonable Ribbon. We're going to do this just like we always do. We're going to come to the edge with our score tape in about the middle and just lay this down. You can see why I have to add the ribbon. The magnets, I didn't think about this when I put all those magnets in, but they repel each other. So it wants to shimmy around, which is annoying to me. So we're going to have a nice ribbon closure on this. I'm going to actually come up around this section to right about here, just to make sure that we have a really good snug closure. All right. Always with score tape, you have to press it down or burnish it. That's another word you'll hear people use. And then I'm going to remove half my ribbon, half my tape liner. Press my ribbon into place. And work my way around. Now I can tie my ribbon. And this will pull everything together. See? That works beautifully. All right, and that's just temporary while we work on the cover.
We got into a drifty bank, and we got upset. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is.
I'm going to build the cover off the album. Here's our cover that we wrapped at the very beginning. And I painted the edges with our tarnished brass. And then I went into the 8x8 pad and I pulled out the cover sheet, as you can see here. And I wanted this scene with Santa Claus and the polar bear that's in the center. So I used my precision trimmer to trim this out to 4 7/8 by 4. Then I cut these other bits into pieces, and we're going to glue these down as another patterned layer behind. And it's not going to look pieced when we're finished. It's going to look really good, but this is a good paper saver. And then this one I'm going to leave with the pattern because I wanted to say, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Now I'm going to come in with my focal image and I'm going to place it right here. Now that we've got this in place, we can bring in our frame, and you can see this is a Reneabouquets snowflake. This is actually a shadow box, but I don't use the bottom shadow box. I just use the frame. I've backed this with clear acetate and then added 3 rows of 1/8 inch foam tape. And we're going to put some beautiful, beautiful shaker elements in here. I want these really rich blues. There's some little buttons in there too. So I'm just going to place these in the center. And this is from Buttons Galore and More. I don't even know if you can get it anymore. It's called Summer Nights, but it sure works in this winter project. So I'm going to use it. I want to see if I can find some smaller buttons. A lot of times they have smaller ones in these little mixes. Let's see. Well, I think these are about the smallest ones in there. Don't want to overdo it. It's always so hard. This is the hardest part of making a shaker card, is judging how much goodie to put in the shaker element. Because if you don't do enough, it's like, well, why did you bother? And then if you do too much, you cover up your image. So you just kind of have to make a judgment call. And I'm going to say that's pretty good for those. And then I want a few of these white snowflake ones, just to go with the snowy theme. These have little pearls in them too, which are so pretty. All right, that looks pretty good. One more button, I think. A little more snow. And then I'm just going to put a few of these sprinklets in because I want just a tiny bit of red in there. So these are candy canes and peppermint sticks and gingerbread men. So that looks good. I think that's good for the shaker frame. So I'm going to come in. I'm going to pull this toward me so I can. I'm going to try not to get my head in the frame, but I have to make sure I'm placing this in the right spot. I'm committing now. There we go. And I always shake it really good to make sure I don't have any leaks in there. Looks pretty good. Oh, that's pretty. And you can see Saint Nick. You can't see the polar bear so much, but you can see Saint Nick, and that's what I really wanted. All right. I want to add some of these beautiful, these are some of my favorite from Reneabouquets, these pine boughs. I just think they're stunning. So what I did was I heat embossed these with a holographic, clear holographic, and then I went over it with some snow paste. And then while the snow paste was wet, I'll show you the snow paste. Snow Tex is what it's called. I really like this stuff. And it dries white, which is nice. And then I sprinkled it with some Rajni Chalwa frosting powder. So I want to arrange these on here. I thought I had it figured out. Yes, I think it was like this. And I'm going to use my Dries Clear adhesive just in case I make a mess here, because it will dry clear. And I want this one to go up in this corner like this. And then I want this one to go down. I can't decide if I want it turned. I think I want it turned this way. And these are the, I think these are the small or the itty bitty, but I'll link. I always do a linked supply list on my blog, and then I link to my blog in the description box, so you'll be able to find all this good stuff. Let's do this right here. All right. We're just going to let that be happy. Then I want to create a little bit of a winter scene. I brought in a bunch of stuff. I can't decide. I think that's too much. So I like it, but I think it's too big. So I'm going to remove that. Let's build a little floral display. I think I want it right here. So I'm going to take this poinsettia. And now I'm just going to build and add my elements while you watch and listen to some pretty Christmas music.
In a one-horse open sleigh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. In a one-horse open sleigh.
All right, friends, let's see if we can't finish this up. I had to stop and think for a minute about what I wanted to do. I've got these pretty little beaded berries. These are really reasonable ribbon, and I'm going to tuck these into our bow cluster, and I'll fluff out that bow. Then I've also got this little piece of evergreen. This is an ugly centerpiece that I cannibalized. I picked it up in the clearance basket at the craft store, and then I tucked a little glittered snowflake in there up in this corner to finish this off. Here's our little chipboard bird, and I strung jingle bells onto a jump ring and then added our twine, and I put an extra piece of chipboard on the back. This serves two purposes. For one, it gives it a little more elevation, and for two, it keeps that center piece inside the frame. And we're just going to add some little posies up here to finish that out. You'll also notice that I added little rhinestone gems to the centers of my snowflakes. So this is going to go just like this. And then I've got a couple little rosebuds. And I'm going to tuck underneath like that. I don't think there's anything else we need to do here. Let me just look at it for a minute. I think it's really beautiful. It's got lots of sparkle and shimmer. I really like it. So now we're going to bring in our cover. And you can see this is going to go right here and be gorgeous. I'm going to shift these flowers around. It's always easier to tell placement once it's on the cover. That looks better. All right, let's glue this down. And then this is ready to be wrapped up and put under the Christmas tree. Bring in my trusty binder clips to hold that cover in place while the glue sets up. And that, my friends, is our Throwback Thursday for this week, using Graphic 45's Let It Snow, some Reneabouquets flowers, and chipboard. Really reasonable ribbon. We got some good stuff on here. A lot of you will ask me, where'd you get the little jingle bells? I don't remember. That's the truth. I have bought them in the past at Funky Junky Boutique, but they are no longer in stock there. They sold out. That is it, guys. That is Throwback Thursday for this week. We're all finished. I'll remove the clips when the cover has dried. If you enjoyed this video, please remember to give it a like. It helps YouTube distribute it to more of our crafty friends. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I would love to have you along for the journey. We have a lot of fun here, and I'm always sharing new ideas. So that is it for me, Kathy Clement, Kathy by Design. I'm going to clean up my studio and then go get my craft done. Thanks for joining me, friends. Bye.